We've always known about Trump that everything is a projection, right? Everything is. Somebody was asking for that. You can't just throw that out there.
I like wood.
You know, and expect me not to
deeper and longer.
Give it to you. Give it to the, what's the word?
I like wood.
I do too. Yeah, it's good. I think it's better than not having it. You know, better to have it, not need it than.
I like wood.
So, you know how Trump, it's all projection, right? That's the thing we know. Is like Trump, if he's going to accuse somebody of something, it's because he knows either that accusation is headed his way because a story is breaking, or a criminal indictment is about to come through, or it's just flat out true. And politically, it's embarrassing. So push that over there. But it also applies to words and phrases, because now in their attempt to kind of fold everything over into, let's see if I can find this. I wanted to find where I could show you the actual, where's the goddamn thumbnail? Because some of them, when I open up the story, the thumbnail goes away. But there are two phrases that are going around. One is Carrie Lake says it when she's on Greg Kelly's show, and I believe Jesse Waters just said it because he's alone, because that's his life, that Kamala Harris has blood on her hands because of the border. That's one of their phrases they're floating. The other one is, it's a cult. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Glenn Beck and others have started floating the idea that Democrats are in a cult. Now, where would they get that phrase? And obviously, look, in all deference to the sparklers and the people in my chat, the fact is, this is not a cult, okay? I'm just going to say, on our side, in this room, in this area, not a cult at all. And I'll tell you why. Because cult is small. If anything, this is a brand new religion. But that said, you know, it's because it's a size thing. That Democrats are in a cult, apparently a cult that fills the internet 5 times a week, 6 times on Saturday. And then, of course, it's so packed. There's like people waiting to get into the internet just to watch this show. So not a cult, clearly not a cult, and we genuflect. So it is a party. Yes, it is the Democratic Party is a party. The Republican MAGA is a cult, and they're apparently getting fucking touchy about it. So there's this big pushback on the one hand to call, you know, like any kind of Democratic beyond like the kind of what they would, because woke has died as a phrase. Woke doesn't work anymore. So they're trying to jumpstart cult and kind of soften the impact of that Trump doesn't like. And I think that's really what it boils down to. Trump does not like when he's called something, and if it sticks with him, that's when they have to turn it loose on everybody else. That's like weird or a threat to democracy. Both of those things definitely upset Trump. It's why he projects it outwards. It's why he has to say it, right? He got like, I'm not a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy. We're not weird. They're weird. Like, he has to reflect it because it's obviously landing. He knows he's going to be a threat to democracy. What the fuck was January 6th and his entire presidency and this dictator on day one? And I'll only do it for one day because Donald Trump has the emotional and ethical depth to give up absolute power once it's given to him. Get the fuck out of here. All right. So anyways, let's jump right in, because tomorrow night is the Vance Walz VP debate. Very exciting. And details to follow, but I will be joining a group of other comics watching it and during a live stream. And then afterwards, I'm going to do what I normally do, hop over to my channel right here, this very show. And I'm going to go through the whole thing and break it down line by line like I do with videos, but I'm going to do it long form. Right. The other one will be on another channel. I'll post links tomorrow. But afterwards, right, as soon as it's done, I'm going to, like a half hour later, I'll pop over here because I like to let everybody watch a little bit of Rachel and Lawrence going over shit, right? I'll put that on there. So let's see where we're going. Okay, so first up, the big question, though, on everybody's chapped lips is I think is.
Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
No, I don't think that was the question.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
No, it's not that either. I'll tell you what it is. It's who is J.D. Vance? Who is V.D. Pants? What's he all about, Alfie? Well, Trump world has heard you. And let me see if I can move this down. And this little video here is titled, This is J.D. Vance. You know, it's kind of like when the Go-Go's put out We Got the Beat, you know, because apparently white people dancing in discos were having a real hard time finding it. And they're like, hi, I understand you have the beat here, and I'm really having a hard time finding it. And the Go-Go's would come and go, we got the beat. It's right over here. Put your foot down. It won't ever change. So I love comedy bits from when I was in high school. Anyways, so yes, thank you Go-Go's for helping people find out, you know, where the beat was and who got it. And then, of course, if you want to know what it's all about, either ask Alfie or do the hokey pokey, which is should come as no surprise. I prefer the hokey pokey. Just saying. All right, now, so let's see it. This is a new ad from Trump's own channel, which has not added any subscribers. It's got 9,000 views, this video. It's hot. It's the hotness. Who is J.D. Vance? This is J.D. Vance.
A lot of people feel like the American dream is further and further away.
You mean like the kind of person who leaves Ohio and goes to San Francisco to become a venture capitalist in the tech world? I know kind of the feeling. I was a Kentucky kid and I went to Chicago and then I drove from Chicago to LA to become an actor. It's had I known, I could have just waited there until Dick Wolf started doing 3 shows a week there.
That if you work hard and play by the rules, it's a little bit harder to get ahead.
Because people like Donald Trump cheat and take all the loans that could be doled out to other people if they were fair. But all right.
It's a little bit harder to support a family.
Why is there a cricket? Why is there a giant cricket? Why is the cricket so loud? What? Hold on. Back up. No, you don't get to just put the sound of a giant cricket chirping over an aerial shot. We can't hear the drone, but we sure as fuck can hear the cricket.
Play by the rules, it's a little bit harder to get ahead. It's a little bit harder to support a family, a little bit harder to buy a home. The world I grew up in was one where I think
where you fed crickets to your pet turtle, Ayn Rand. What's your turtle's name?
the first time really in American history, you know, my parents' generation did not expect their children to
Yikes! What is that? What are you doing? What is this crossfade from the eyes to eyes? What the fuck kind of... No, they did not. They did not. Who does that? What? That shot did not work in the opening of The Saint with Val Kilmer, and it does not work now. What the... Please. Jesus, it's creepy. Also, some people are like, what's that song? It's, I'll tell you what it is. It's royalty-free YouTube music is my guess. Let's back the fuck up, though. Hold on. Don't give it quit. There we go.
time really in American history, you know, my parents' generation did not expect their...
What is that? What is that? What the fuck is that? What am I looking at? That's just fucking, that's embarrassing. I was not expecting to cringe this quickly. What are you doing? What are we, is this, I gotta say, this seems like a desperate attempt to humanize this douchebag.
Their children to necessarily have a better life than they did. And you saw that in all kinds of different ways, but you know, there was this sense growing up in Middletown in the 1990s that a lot of people didn't expect the future to be better than the past, and that's a...
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was called grunge music, dum-dum. And every generation since the fucking World War II, with the exception of like 6 years in the 50s, where everybody was just pretending everything was fine, and dad doesn't have PTSD. It's just if you shut the door really loudly, he kicks the dog and sets the car on fire. So everyone's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Jesus Christ. In the 70s, we hid under our desks because nuclear bombs were coming. Don't talk to me about the fucking the future wasn't as bright. Jesus Christ. Try hitting 15, 16 years old when AIDS shows up, dummy. What the fuck? How do you think everybody felt about the American dream when on 9/11? Or during the fucking, or people in LA during the riots or the 7.2 earthquake. Shut the fuck up.
Really unique and a really tragic thing.
It's not unique. And it's not, also, since when do you live on fucking Elm Street?
Jobs started to disappear
I gotta say, that looks like the Elm Street house. I'm just saying.
from that community. Drugs started to move in. Hopelessness started to move in. And
Sorry. Drugs started moving in the 90s. Is that when? Is that when the drugs started to move in? So, and what'd they do? Muscle out booze? Sorry, all right.
so a lot of people who really knew that the future would be better than the past actually found a world that was a lot more difficult and a lot more challenging.
Okay, that's not a sentence. Look, I recognize this thing's only 2 minutes long. I would tighten some of that shit up. That literally meant nothing. These two, listen to that again, real quick. Just listen to what he actually says. Like, try and make the words make sense.
Drugs started to move in. Hopelessness started to move in. And so a lot of people who really knew that the future would be better than the past actually found a world that was a lot more difficult and a lot more challenging.
So I guess they didn't know, they believed. I think belief is the word. Vance has never done 18 in her life. Yeah. Seriously, did you not see a single fucking rock video? Like, I'm not even asking you to listen to Welcome to the Jungle or fucking Am I Evil? Fallen Angel by Poison is more of a cautionary tale, and that was well before the 90s, dum-dum.
I wrote Hillbilly Elegy because I wanted to give people a sense of what it was like to live in a community like mine. I didn't think a whole
I wanted to find a way to sell hopelessness back to the very people I had stolen it from.
lot of stories were told
About rolled up things of steel. Sorry, is this your family's steel factory? We're just walking around, bringing the kids to see the giant rolls of steel.
about white working class Americans. I didn't think a lot of stories were told about people who were struggling with some of the problems we were struggling with, joblessness, drug addiction, and so forth.
Really? Really? You didn't think there were books being written about people struggling with joblessness and drug addiction? You didn't think so? You didn't, I mean, just maybe, did you read The Jungle in fucking high school?
And I thought that I could tell a story that would make people understand my family a little bit better, and maybe in the process, understand the struggles of a lot of families. I come from the places that I...
And you didn't? As a matter of fact, most of the rednecks who read the book, that could, obviously, it's a self-selecting crowd, thought you were just shitting on them.
want to represent. And what we need is to stop...
Maybe turn the drums down. I don't know if he's going to do like the Maori chant or something at this point. What is that? Listen how loud that shit is. He's still talking, you know.
I come from the places that I want to represent. And what we need...
I come from the places I want to represent. I didn't realize you had a choice. I just came from the union of my parents and just kind of landed where I landed. I had no idea. I was like, I want to write jokes about being a redneck kid that moves to Chicago and then moves to LA and all the observations in between. Lucky for me, I come from a place I wanted to write about.
need is to stop sending people that are of the DC swamp. We need to send people who are of the places they aim to represent.
Hey, asshole. That's what we do. You're from Ohio. You're a senator. You got into the Senate exactly that way. What do you mean that the DC swamp, you dumb motherfucker? What do you think? You do realize that everybody else in the Senate and the House gets elected locally, right? Nobody, no, what? What are you talking about? All right, I'm a little surprised this got as dumb as it did. Fuck me.
I want to fight for the people that I come from.
The American media has been...
What? I want to fight for the people that I come from. Gets a little gross. It's a little nasty.
I want to fight for the people that I come from.
I want to fight for the people that I come from. Okay, I know what you're trying to say, and I know you're new to the planet. I understand that English is, it's got a lot of variety in it, obviously, and it can be very hard for people who are born off planet to pick up the kind of colloquialisms and make it make sense. But look, and what am I to say to our alien friends who, obviously have adapted to deep space and don't require oxygen to survive? And it might be a little weird for you here, but try harder, you lazy fuck.
American media has been laundering foreign disinformation. It is disgusting. Instead of talking about the crises in our country, they try to silence the people who are experiencing them. Who do you want?
I don't know where that part came from. Like, I want to speak for the people that I come from or whatever, and then this kind of weird thing about the American media silencing people, just kind of like, this is starting to get boring. Throw in some firebrand, incendiary, accusatory, bearing false witness.
Answering the phone. Do you want a person who hides from the friendly American media, or do you want a person who takes a bullet to the head and stands up and says, fight, fight, fight? Kamala Harris.
Okay, first of all, he took a piece of glass to the ear, and a firefighter died that day, and 2 other people were shot. Fuck you. He stopped, fight, fight, fight. He didn't go, is everyone okay? He didn't even find out other people were shot or give a rat's ass till he got to the fucking hospital. And even then, he's like, somebody get their information and somebody else will give them money. Fuck off.
You ought to have respect enough for your own people to enforce their border laws and listen to them. Listen to them.
To enforce their core laws and listen to them? You mean against retaining classified documents without authorization once you've left office? Something like that? Maybe not provoking an insurrection and arranging for all the people that would be there to know where they should show up, have coordinating elements in your administration, tell people where to go if they're wearing flak jackets, and tell them to bring bear spray and sharpened flagpoles and shit like that. You mean those kind of core laws, like don't fucking trespass. If you lose the election, you lose it fair, and you lose it fair and square, like be an adult about it, something like that.
And when they complain about it, don't pretend they're bad people. We're not.
God damn, that the music is so loud compared to his voice, so you can tell that Trump and everybody else hate his voice. Like, can you keep jacking the music up till he sounds mildly macho? Like, I can't really anymore, and you'll just see his mouth moving. Maybe that's best.
Bad people for loving this country. You're a bad person for doing this to the country in the first place.
That was from his speech last week, where he was like, Kamala Harris wants you to think you're a bad person for loving this country. No, Kamala, you're a bad person for doing what you did to this country. And you're like, what, the $42,000 or 42,000 point stock market, 4% unemployment, biggest reshoring of factories in 60 fucking years. What part? Rising wages. And they did, by the way, fix the pandemic that Trump just went and got us out of fucking Afghanistan. You realize we're not there now, yeah? Yes, Trump approved this image where they're chanting JD, but there's a giant Trump sign and it's mostly him and other people over here. And he's just kind of like, can you make him smaller in the frame? Not and have you both on screen. You do realize he's not 6'3", right? That JD Vance is not 6'3". But whatever, right? That's it. Shit, that's the end of that. That's all. So that is their big sales pitch. That's their, for tomorrow. That's JD Vance. Now you know.